you're in this euphoria of life. You're in the most blissful feeling in your happy place, right? That you could ever think of, and everything is going right because you don't worry about anything else. That's what life is supposed to be. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Inside Influence podcast, aka the Morning Takeaway. And today, I've just got a quick little blip for you. It's not going to be long. I just wanted to share a little takeaway that I had as I was sitting with one of my buddies the other day, and we were kind of talking about just, those states of euphoria and when you're kind of living your life in a beautiful state. And it feels like there's no possible way that things could go wrong. You're just so immersed in that present moment. And the idea that in those moments, there's no stress. There is absolutely zero stress at all. You don't have a worry in the world. You're just being fully present. And I know I talk about a lot in the idea of, trying to be present, but I think a lot of times in the world that we live in, it's easier to say than it is to do. And probably the majority of what I'm going to say right here and kind of the revelation that I had as I was sitting talking with my friend may sound a little easier said than done, but I think it's more or less the point of that topic that I want to drive home, and it's maybe something for you to remember when you have things that are stressing you out or you're feeling unmotivated, and the way out, essentially. And as I say that, I think my last podcast was on the idea of just doing it and taking action. We'll come back to this topic that I'm talking about today, but I literally put out a post today and wanted to read my caption kind of on to piggyback from my last podcast, but also kind of bring it into this one as well. And it just says, honesty hour, ... just do it. Recently, I have felt unmotivated. This is not a cry for sympathy, rather a reminder that we are all going to feel this way at some point. When this happens, I always revert back to what I know works best, ... to take action. A body in motion will stay in motion and look for more motion. A body in motion will look to learn more and stay in motion, or a mind in motion, excuse me. A body and mind in connection will create more momentum. The opposite is true for all of these, by the way. But how do we do this? By taking action. We change our state, essentially our physiology. When we decide to just do, we can create so much more. Happy Monday, a new day, a new week, and new opportunities. So with that said, it kind of goes back to this idea of when we are feeling motivated or we do feel stressed out, because those things are kind of synonymous, right? I know for me, in that recent period of just feeling unmotivated, it was a pile of stress. One thing would lead to another. I always, as you know, write my daily tasks down each day, the night before. And I would find myself kind of procrastinating. And I would just move it to the next day, move it to the next day. And it's just this recurring thought, and it's taking up space in my brain. And I'm sure most of you could relate to this, in the idea that it's just like, oh, that one nagging thing. And then once you just do it and you get it done, it's off your back. And you feel like this huge weight is lifted off your shoulders. And to me, it was that. And I knew exactly what I had to do, but I wasn't doing it. And the idea that if you keep pushing it off, other things are going to come up in that day. That you push it back to Tuesday, and then something else comes up on Tuesday. Oh, that one thing gets pushed back to Wednesday. Oh, something comes up on Wednesday. Before you know it, it's a whole week later, right? So doing the things that we say we're going to do when we say that we are going to do them. But how does that relate to this idea of euphoria and that constant state of presence? Well, as I reflected on that idea of just like, you're in this euphoria of life. You're in the most blissful feeling in your happy place, right? That you could ever think of, and everything is going right because you don't worry about anything else. Well, I got to reflecting on the idea that that's what life is supposed to be. And life is supposed to be about euphoria and experiencing and analyzing that present moment without all of the external stressors. But in the society and the world that we live in, it's just accepted that we let all of these things distract us, and it takes our attention, and it takes a little bit of our mind and distracts us from that euphoric feeling, right? And one thing after another starts to compile, and before we know it, we're out of it. It's so much easier to be out of it than it is to be in that state. Well, then I took it a little deeper. If you've read the book Think and Grow Rich, I talked about it in my top five books podcast I did a few weeks ago. But he talks about Napoleon Hill in 1937. He talks about the idea of accepting thoughts. And we have the power to choose what thoughts we accept. For example, in the world of fitness where I live my life, if I choose to accept with these 50-pound dumbbells that I will get 12 reps, well, the likelihood of me getting those 12 reps is a lot higher. If I go into it not accepting that thought and toying around with it like, oh, I don't know, this might be too heavy, chances are at reps 8, 9, 10, I'm gonna have an easier way out. And I think, and that might not be the best example because it's that physical exertion is a little harder to I guess embody with this idea. But if you choose the thought that randomly pops up, like for example, we have the choice to be happy every single day. We have the choice to be in that state of euphoria every day. And where I'm going with this is the idea that the stresses that we take on or that we have in life, we have the ability to choose whether or not we take them on. Now, don't get me wrong, we don't have the ability to choose, hey, am I going to work or not? We have the ability to say, hey, I'm gonna take this work on, I'm gonna accept it for what it is, I'm gonna get it done, and then I'm gonna go on with my life, right? And I'm gonna keep moving forward. And that is really, I think, the point that I wanna drive home is in those states where you feel like you have no control and you feel like you're stressed out, you have the ability to choose to accept that stress and let it overtake you, like it was for me, as I was telling you, those past, that week or so. Or you can say, hey, this is what it is, this is how it is, this is how I feel, and I'm gonna do something about it. And that's how I'm tying in that last podcast and the idea of just taking action, right? And I guess I just wanted to put that out there because I know that there's people out there that in the world that we live in, it's like you're gonna have those days, right? And I don't want you to feel down. I don't want you to feel, more or less, I want you to maybe hear this and be able to apply something. Maybe it makes you feel better. Maybe you're able to look at something that's been nagging at you for a long time in a different lens, in a different perspective, and be able to shift the mindset. Because if we keep doing the things that on a daily basis that are stressing us out, we're never going to be able to crawl out of that hole, right? We have to do something different. Like I talked about whoa, that was a lot of words in like 17 syllables. But as I was talking about in my caption, that's the whole idea of changing your physiology. If you can change your state, go take a cold shower, go on a run, go out, be out in the sun and sweat a little, whatever it is, that then we can start to build our way out of that hole. And I think, again, if there's anything that you do take away and you think somebody that you know might be able to take something away, please share this, because that is ultimately how you can most repay me, and the best way you can repay me, because that's what I want to do, and that's my mission in life, is to have an impact on someone else. Because if somebody could do that for me on a camera and a microphone, I hope that I can do the same. And if you've been following me for a while, I know that you hear that all the time from me, but I don't think I can sell myself short on not saying it when I feel like it's needed to be said. So that's kind of my takeaway for today, and I just wanted to hop on here and give you a quick rant. So before we end this thing, let's end it in normal fashion with a random question generator. Here we go. Clicking for a question. What's the best thing you got from one of your parents? Ooh, what's the best thing you got from one of your parents? This is really depressing that I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I guess, you know what? I think this is not physical, but it was the ability to travel when I was young. My mom and I used to travel quite a bit, and I'm very grateful for that because I think a lot of life perspective and cultured nature of seeing things in the world and the internationally and whatever, like you seeing how other people live and how they think and how they act, it's super beneficial. And I think if there's any way, like one that I could give my kids something one day, it would be that same gift of travel and culture and experience. So that is all I have for you today. That's my random question generator. And again, if you took something away, please share. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you're the first one to see my videos. I appreciate you watching. Hope you took something away. Hope you have an awesome freaking day. And don't forget to smile.